Settle yourself now. There is nothing you need to do. Nothing you need to change. Nothing you need to fix. Simply listen. The truth you are about to hear does not require effort. It only requires acceptance. For what you seek is not outside of you, and it never has been. Neville Goddard taught a truth so simple that the human mind often rejects it. And yet, this truth governs all creation. Imagination creates reality. Not tomorrow, not eventually, but always. At every moment, you are assuming something to be true about yourself. And whatever you assume to be true must express itself in your world. Most people live unconsciously. They assume based on appearances. They react to circumstances. They allow the outer world to dictate the inner state. And then they wonder why life feels repetitive. Why the same patterns return. Why change feels difficult. But Neville reminds us, life does not happen to you. Life happens through you. The world is not a cause. It is an effect. And effects never create causes. If you desire a change in your life, the change must first occur in consciousness. Not as words, not as hope, but as feeling. Because feeling is the secret. When you feel yourself to be the one who already has, you are no longer desiring. You are being. And being is creative. Most people imagine of their desire. They picture it as something distant, something separate, something coming in the future. But this is not creation. This is postponement. Neville was very clear. To imagine correctly, you must imagine from the end. Living in the end means that inwardly, you have already accepted that it is done. There is a difference between wanting relief and feeling relieved. There is a difference between wanting freedom and feeling free. There is a difference between hoping and knowing. The subconscious mind does not respond to words. It responds to states. And a state is a feeling. Ask yourself gently now, if my desire were already fulfilled, how would I feel? Not excited, not anxious, but natural, calm, grounded, certain. Fulfillment feels ordinary. It feels normal. It feels quiet. This is why many miss it. They look for fireworks. But creation moves in silence. Neville often said that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a feeling of relief. The relief of knowing it is done. The relief of no longer needing to think about it. The relief of rest. And rest is faith. Faith is not forcing belief. Faith is loyalty to an assumption. When you assume the feeling of fulfillment, you are declaring inwardly, "This is who I am now." And the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around that assumption. You do not need to lift a finger. You do not need to chase. You do not need to manipulate circumstances. Circumstances are servants. States are masters. Choose the state, and the circumstances follow. But the human habit is persistence in the old state. People assume something new for a moment, then return to doubt. They check the outer world for confirmation. They look for signs. And Neville warns us, do not seek signs. Signs follow. They do not precede. The moment you look outside to see if it is working, you have left the state. Creation is finished. Every possible version of you already exists. You do not create states. You enter them. You are not becoming something new. You are selecting who you will be. And selection happens through feeling. This is why Neville placed so much importance on sleep. The moments before sleep are sacred. The conscious mind relaxes. The analytical mind quiets. And the subconscious becomes receptive. Whatever feeling you fall asleep in, you carry into form. You do not need vivid images. You do not need effort. A simple mood is enough. The mood of fulfillment. The mood of gratitude. The mood of peace. Fall asleep knowing that it is done. Not trying to make it done, but resting in the fact that it already is. Remain still now. Feel the quiet certainty. Feel the relief. Feel the knowing. It is done. And it always has been. And yet, many still ask, how do I know if I am doing it right? Neville answered this simply. You are doing it right when it feels natural. If it feels strained, if it feels forced, if it feels like effort, you are still trying. The law does not respond to trying. It responds to being. You do not assume a state by effort. You assume a state by acceptance. Acceptance is quiet. It does not argue. It does not explain. It does not seek approval. It simply rests. This is why Neville emphasized persistence. Not persistence in action, but persistence in feeling. To remain faithful to an assumption, even when the senses deny it. The senses are delayed messengers. They only report past states. If you react to them, you recreate the old pattern. If you remain inwardly unmoved, you allow the new state to harden into fact. Neville told us, do not accept appearances as final. Appearances are temporary. States are permanent until changed. You change states, not by fighting the old, but by occupying the new. The old falls away naturally. When attention is withdrawn, attention is life. Where attention goes, energy flows. Give attention to fulfillment, and lack dissolves. Give attention to peace, and struggle fades. Give attention to certainty, and confusion disappears. This is not magic. It is law. Impersonal, exact, unfailing. Neville often reminded his students that imagination does not judge. It does not ask if something is reasonable. It does not ask if something is likely. It simply accepts what you feel to be true. Your responsibility is not to convince the world, but to occupy the state. Once occupied, expression is inevitable. Many become discouraged because they look for movement. But the deepest movements are invisible. Seeds grow in darkness. Roots form in silence. So too does assumption. Neville said, "The interval of time does not matter. What matters is fidelity to the end." Do not measure. Do not calculate. Do not compare. Comparison pulls you back into appearances. Remain loyal to what you have assumed. If you have assumed peace, be peaceful now. If you have assumed freedom, act inwardly free now. If you have assumed fulfillment, rest now. Rest is a sign of true assumption. Strain is a sign of doubt. Whenever you notice effort, return gently to feeling. Ask again, how would I feel if this were already done? And accept the answer. No argument. No justification. Acceptance is enough. Neville also spoke of identity. You do not get what you want. You get what you are. This is why techniques fail. When identity is unchanged, the moment identity shifts, behavior follows. Thoughts follow. Circumstances follow. You do not need to force change. Change is automatic. When the state is assumed, ask yourself gently, who am I being? When I think of my desire, am I the one waiting, or the one who has? Waiting is a state. Having is a state. Choose carefully. Neville reminded us. That choice is the only freedom. You are always free to select the state you occupy. Even now. Especially now. This moment is always the point of power. Do not postpone your assumption. Do not say later. Do not say when. Assume now. Now is the creative moment. Now is the moment of selection. And once selected, remain. Remain gently. Remain quietly. Remain faithfully. And let life do the rest. Because it always does. Remain still now. Do not seek anything. Simply be aware. Aware of calm. Aware of relief. Aware of completion. This awareness is the state, and the state is the cause. Everything else is effect. Rest here and allow the unseen to become seen in its own time, in its own way. It is done, and it cannot fail. Neville also reminded us that consciousness is the only reality, not the body, not the environment, not the past. Consciousness alone is the creator. And what is consciousness? It is awareness. Awareness of being. Awareness of existing. Awareness of I am. Before you say anything about yourself, before you attach any description, there is the simple feeling of being. I am. This I am is the doorway to every state. Attach I am to limitation, and limitation appears. attach I am to freedom. And freedom expresses. The words themselves are not the power. The feeling of identity is the power. Neville taught that whatever you feel yourself to be, you must express. You do not have to announce it. You do not have to explain it. Life knows. Life responds. This is why inner conversations are so important. The quiet dialogue you have with yourself when no one else is listening. Those conversations reveal your true assumption. Are you inwardly arguing, defending, justifying, or are you resting, accepting, knowing? Neville said, "Watch your inner speech, because it is prophecy, not dramatic prophecy, but daily, ordinary, inevitable prophecy." If inwardly you say, "This always works out for me," that is an assumption. If inwardly you say, "I always struggle," that is also an assumption. The law does not choose. It reflects. So choose consciously. Choose gently. You are not asked to fight thoughts. You are not asked to suppress anything. Simply notice and redirect. Redirect attention to the feeling of fulfillment. Again and again. This is persistence. Persistence is not repetition of words. Persistence is remaining faithful to a feeling. Neville explained that a state must be worn like a garment. You put it on and you live from it. You do not keep checking if it fits. You simply wear it. So wear the state of the wish fulfilled. Wear it inwardly. Let it color your reactions, your expectations, your interpretations. If something unexpected happens, do not panic. Do not assume failure. Remain in the state. The state will interpret the event correctly. This is trust. Trust is not blind belief. Trust is consistency. Consistency in assumption. Neville said, "You cannot serve two states. You cannot feel fulfilled and desperate at the same time. You will always return to the dominant feeling. So make fulfillment dominant, not by force, but by familiarity. Return to it so often that it becomes natural. Naturalness is the sign of success. When you no longer think about it constantly, when you no longer question, the seed has taken root. At that point, life begins to move. Quietly, subtly, efficiently, often in ways you did not expect. Neville loved to remind us that imagination is wiser than reason. Reason tries to plan. Imagination simply knows. So let reason rest. Let imagination lead. Give it one instruction. This is done. And then stop instructing. Silence is powerful. Silence means acceptance. Remain silent inwardly about the desire, not suppressing, but satisfied. Satisfaction is fulfillment felt, and fulfillment felt is creation complete. Rest now. Remain aware. Aware of being. Aware of calm. Aware of certainty. This awareness is the state, and the state will speak for itself, without effort, without delay, because this is law. Neville often spoke about the law of reversibility. What does this mean? It means that the feeling you generate inwardly must be reflected outwardly, not sometimes, not conditionally, but always. If you feel insecure, life mirrors uncertainty. If you feel safe, life arranges safety. If you feel chosen, life responds with selection. The world cannot disobey feeling. This is why Neville insisted that you do not wait for proof. Waiting is a confession that you do not believe. Assumption precedes evidence. Evidence follows assumption. Never the reverse. This is where most effort is wasted. People try to change facts instead of changing feeling. But facts are frozen assumptions. They will melt only when the inner temperature changes. So you do not attack facts. You withdraw belief from them. Neville described this as dying to the old man, the old identity, the old story, the old reactions. You do not kill it with force. You starve it of attention. Attention is life. Remove attention, and the state withers. At the same time, you nourish the new state with feeling, with acceptance, with loyalty. This is inner discipline. Not harsh, not rigid, but consistent. Neville warned that the mind will try to return. Habit is strong. The old state will knock. It will present familiar thoughts, familiar doubts, familiar fears. When this happens, do not panic. This is not failure. This is transition. Every change of state includes a period of adjustment. Remain faithful. Say inwardly, "This no longer defines me," and return to the feeling. Neville emphasized that you must not dig up the seed. Checking delays manifestation. Checking is doubt in action. Once assumed, leave it alone. Live your life. Enjoy the present moment. Fulfillment does not obsess. Lack obsesses. If you find yourself constantly thinking about it, return to calm. Calm is a sign that the assumption has been accepted. Neville spoke deeply about the interval of time. Time is not punishment. Time is adjustment. It allows the rearrangement of countless unseen factors. Do not rush life. Life knows the perfect bridge of events. Neville called this the bridge of incidents, a series of natural steps, leading inevitably to fulfillment. You do not need to plan the bridge. You only need to occupy the end. The bridge unfolds automatically, often in ways that appear ordinary. But nothing is accidental. When you look back, you will see how perfectly it was arranged. Neville advised to keep the mood light. Seriousness tightens the mind. Relaxation opens it. Approach assumption with ease, as you would approach remembering something. Because you are not creating, you are recalling. Recalling a version of yourself that already exists. Neville said, All states exist now. Rich, poor, free, bound. You move through them. Choose carefully. And once chosen, remain. Do not mix states. Mixed feeling produces mixed results. Clarity comes from loyalty. Loyalty to one assumption. When the feeling stabilizes, you will notice something subtle. You stop talking about it. You stop explaining. You stop convincing. Silence returns. This silence is not emptiness. It is completion. Neville said, "When the desire is fulfilled inwardly, the mind rests." Rest is the Sabbath. The Sabbath is not a day. It is a state. The state of rest. Enter it often, especially at night. As you fall asleep, let the day dissolve. Let effort fade. Carry only one thing into sleep: the feeling that it is done. Sleep in that feeling, night after night, and let the law do what it always does: express, fulfill, confirm. Because it cannot do otherwise. Remain still now. Feel the depth. Feel the certainty. Feel the calm. You are not waiting. You are being. And being is enough. You do not change your life by trying to control events. You change your life by changing the position from which you observe them. Neville explained that the world you see is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state you most consistently occupy. Not what you wish for, not what you affirm occasionally, but what you return to when no one is watching. When the mind is quiet, when you are alone with yourself. That habitual inner position is what Neville called your state of consciousness. A state is not a mood that comes and goes. It is an identity. It is a sense of self. It is the silent answer to the question, who am I being right now? Most people attempt to change outcomes without changing identity. They want different results, but remain loyal to the same inner definition. And because identity creates experience, the same patterns repeat under different names, in different forms, but with the same feeling. Neville was very precise. You do not attract what you want. You express what you are. If you are conscious of being someone who waits, life gives you reasons to wait. If you are conscious of being someone who struggles, life gives you obstacles to overcome. This is not punishment. This is law. The law is impersonal. It does not judge. It does not reward or withhold. It simply reflects with absolute accuracy. So the question is never, why is this happening to me? The real question is, from which state am I living? Neville taught that every desire is an invitation to occupy a new state. The desire itself is not the goal. The state it implies is the goal. If you desire security, the state is not money. The state is safety. If you desire love, The state is not a person. The state is connection. If you desire freedom, the state is not a circumstance. The state is inner permission. And Neville insisted that you must move into the state before the world rearranges itself. Not after. Not once conditions improve. But now. Internally. Quietly. Without evidence. This is where most people stop. They wait for proof. They wait for reassurance. They wait for permission from circumstances. But Neville said, circumstances never give permission. They follow decisions made in consciousness. To live in the end is to decide that the inner argument is over, that the question has been answered, that the identity has been assumed. And once assumed, it must be protected, not from the world, but from habit, because habit will try to pull you back into the familiar state, the familiar reactions, the familiar interpretations. Neville warned that the old state will feel natural, even when it is painful, because familiarity is comfortable, even when it is limiting. This is why persistence is required. Not persistence in effort, but persistence in being. You persist by returning again and again to the inner feeling of the fulfilled state, not forcing emotion, not pretending excitement, but stabilizing in quiet knowing. The fulfilled state does not celebrate constantly. It does not wait anxiously. It does not explain itself. It rests. And rest is the signature of acceptance. When you no longer feel the need to check, to confirm, to question, you are occupying the state. Neville said, this is when the bridge of incidents begins. Not as something you manage, not as something you plan, but as a natural sequence of events that moves you without strain toward the visible fulfillment. You are not required to know how. You are only required to remain faithful to the state you have chosen. And faith, as Neville defined it, is not belief without doubt. It is loyalty to an assumption. Loyalty, even when appearances disagree, even when nothing seems to change, even when silence remains. Because silence is not absence. Silence is incubation. Remain steady. Remain inwardly aligned. Remain identified with the end. The world will move when you no longer need it to prove anything. There is nothing more you need to understand. Nothing left to analyze. Nothing left to figure out. Neville often reminded us that truth is not something you accumulate. It is something you accept. The moment you truly accept a state, the struggle ends. Because struggle only exists when the mind is divided between what is and what it wishes to be. To live in the end is to end that division. It is to stand inwardly as the one who already knows, already assumes, already rests. Neville said, when the inner conversation changes, everything changes, because your life is nothing more than a conversation made visible. The way you speak to yourself, the way you define situations, the way you silently answer when no one else is present. This inner dialogue is always declaring something about who you are, and life has no choice but to echo that declaration. This is why Neville did not teach effort. He taught alignment. You do not force the future. You align with it by becoming it. The fulfilled state is not tense. It is not alert. It is not vigilant. It is relaxed. It is settled. It is inwardly finished. This does not mean that nothing happens. It means that what happens no longer defines you. Events lose their authority. Appearances lose their emotional charge. Because you are no longer living from reaction. You are living from assumption. Neville explained that assumption, once accepted, hardens into fact. Not because you push it, not because you repeat words, but because consciousness cannot remain divided. It must objectify what it consents to be. So the real practice is not visualization. It is consent. Consent to the idea that this is already done. Consent to the feeling that nothing is missing. Consent to the identity that no longer seeks. When seeking ends, creation begins. Most people reverse this. They try to create in order to feel complete. Neville taught the opposite. Feel complete, and creation follows. This is the subtlety that changes everything. Completion is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not rush. It does not prove. It simply remains. And remaining is the key. Not remaining tense. Not remaining hopeful. But remaining settled. This is why Neville emphasized the importance of sleep and the moments before it. Because in sleep, you stop trying. You stop monitoring. You stop correcting. You simply are. And whatever you are, you carry forward. Fall asleep as the one who has accepted. Fall asleep without mental rehearsal, without inner argument, without negotiation. Let the feeling be simple, neutral, natural. Neville said, if it feels natural, it is accepted. If it still feels dramatic, it is still desired. So allow yourself to come to rest, not as an exercise, not as a technique, but as a decision. A decision that the inner work is complete. A decision that consciousness has chosen. A decision that the end has been entered. From this position, life moves effortlessly. Bridges appear naturally. Actions arise spontaneously. Not because you planned them, but because they belong to the state you are in. Neville trusted this process completely. He knew that once the state is occupied, the details take care of themselves. You do not need to supervise reality. Reality responds. So now, there is nothing left to do, nothing left to apply, nothing left to remember, only to remain loyal to the feeling of having arrived. Remain inwardly still, remain quietly certain, remain unmoved by appearances, because appearances are temporary, states are creative, and you are the one choosing the state. Now, rest here. Let the assumption settle. Let the mind soften. Let the identity stabilize. It is done. And because it is done, it will be seen in its own time, in its own way, without effort, without strain. Remain. There is nothing more to add, nothing more to explain, nothing more to understand. What needed to be heard has already been heard. What needed to settle is settling now. Neville reminded us that truth does not shout, it whispers, and when it is accepted, it becomes quiet. So allow this quiet to remain with you, not as something you remember, but as something you are. No effort, no rehearsal, no repetition. Just this simple knowing that the state has been entered, and from here, life moves naturally, accurately, inevitably. Rest now, not waiting, not watching, not wondering, just resting. It is enough.